by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Well, hi everybody. We're live at the West Yellowstone Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. So much to do down here. You think summer season's officially ending in Yellowstone National Park this weekend, but by no means is the fun ending here in West Yellowstone. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to chat with the folks from the Chamber of Commerce about some of the things that are be going on and about how you approach this season between summer and winter here in a tourist destination like Yellowstone National Park.
And as we head into winter, what can you expect? A look at the winter season, not only in West Yellowstone, Yellowstone National Park, but for the Northwest in general. We'll, of course, talk more about that. Here's what we're working on right now.
In the home stretch to the midterm elections, President Trump's strategy is unwavering. Use the fear of immigrants to rally Republican voters. I'm Laura Podesta. I'll tell you what the president says he'll issue next week to crack down on immigrants crossing America's borders.
City officials are hoping to answer citizens' questions. I'm Adair Spab, and coming up, I'll let you know about the final push for the Public Safety Center.
Well, good morning, Southwest Montana. We hope you're having a great morning. I'm Emma Hamilton. Missy O'Malley is off today. Chet Lehman and Matt Elwell will be back to join us live from West Yellowstone, as they have all morning, in just a few minutes. But first, with 4 days to go before the midterm elections, President Trump is keeping the issue of immigration front and center during that final stretch to the polls. Hours after he unveiled a major change in the U.S. immigration policy, he worked to energize voters at a rally in Columbia, Missouri last night. CBS News reporter Laura Podesta has the latest.
President Trump fired up a crowd in Columbia, Missouri last night, warning the U.S. must take all necessary steps to protect its borders before migrant caravans force their way into the United States.
If you don't want America to be overrun by masses of illegal aliens and giant caravans, you better vote Republican.
Hours earlier, the president said he'll use executive authority to ban asylum seekers from entering the country unless they surrender at legal ports of entry.
The illegal aliens will no longer get a free pass into our country by lodging meritless claims in seeking asylum.
Mr. Trump also declared the so-called catch and release policy is over. Instead, immigrants who enter the country illegally will be held indefinitely in massive tent cities like this one outside of El Paso, Texas. Earlier this week, the president ordered more than 5,000 active duty troops to the southwest border and warned that number could triple. He's authorized the military to use lethal force if migrants throw rocks like they did at the Guatemala-Mexico border.
We will consider that a firearm because there's not much difference when you get hit in the face with a rock. Consider it a rifle.
He's also threatened to end a constitutional right that automatically grants citizenship to any baby born in the U.S. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
In the final week of campaigning, Mr. Trump is headlining 11 events in 8 states where races are neck and neck. Today he makes stops in West Virginia and Indiana. Now, meteorologist Carson Bickroy joins us yet again, and please keep us up to date. What's going on out there and what's going on for this weekend?
Well, all sorts of things are going on out there. We got rain, we got snow in some parts of the state.
We have it all here in Montana.
Oh yeah, we have it all here in Montana. And even this morning, I mean, we have a mixed bag of what's going on. Look at this. This is the Treasure State. Temperatures are in the 40s, 50s, even some 30s for northeastern parts of the state where that cold area is deeper, and they're actually expecting about 2 to 4 inches of snow out there today. I think for the valleys here, it stays mainly as rain and then perhaps a little bit of mountain snow as well. A big story this afternoon, though, will be those winds. We have a cold front that's going to pass through the area. Strong winds west of the divide and east of the divide to the east of Bozeman along Interstate 90. Headed towards Billings. Here's that planer for Bozeman. Because that cold front is passing through the area, temperatures are going to struggle to get out of the lower 50s again with that off chance of a little bit of rain. And then temperatures, we're right around our high temperature for the day for Butte with 49 degrees. We will be reaching around 50 for our high today in Butte. Now, I mentioned we do have rain in the forecast. We have some snow. We got all sorts of things. Find out when that all occurs coming up on Montana This Morning. Emma.
Thank you, Carson. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Office is gearing up for President Donald Trump to come to Bozeman. This is the fourth time Trump has visited Montana. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Office will work with other law enforcement agencies around the state to ensure residents are safe. Sheriff Brian Gutkin says there hasn't been any incidents when Trump visited Missoula, Great Falls, or Billings, and he doesn't expect there to be any in Bozeman either.
There has not been any serious security issues at any of those venues, and we expect it to be exactly the same way here. But that means that we'll be out there and we'll make sure that everyone's safe, including if there's people that want to protest. They have every right in the world to go out there. We'll have a designated area. As long as they do it safely and by the law, we'll make sure that everyone's good.
And that event is expected to start at 12:30. While the fate of Bozeman's Public Safety Center will be decided on November 6th, MTN's Medeiros Babb tells us how city officials are pulling out all the stops to get the levy passed.
Bozeman city officials have been campaigning for a $37 million public safety center for months. And as November 6 draws near, the question of will voters approve the levy looms. Police Chief Steve Crawford says the city needed to host 3 more pop-up town halls to make sure voters don't go to the polls confused.
As we're kind of getting down to the wire, headed towards Election Day, wanted to create another opportunity for members of the public to come out and learn about it. Answer any unanswered questions that they may have, and just kind of clear up any misunderstandings.
Gallatin County Sheriff Brian Gutkin took to Facebook where he said the best option was to keep county and city police together and not separate. He also added the new center would, quote, not make you safer.
It's what I feel as though is best for the public safety of our citizens. And so when I have citizens come up to me, and it's almost on a daily basis, number one, thanking me for saying something, and secondly, asking me questions and being able to clarify some information, of course, that makes you feel good.
But Deputy Mayor Chris Mell says he hears different from citizens.
What I've really heard is that they noticed that 2 of the 3 county commissioners say that Bozeman's voters should look carefully at this, that they think it's a good project. And so that's what stands out to me.
Unlike the other town halls, there will not be a presentation. Instead, it will just all be questions and answers. In Bozeman, Medeiros Babb, MTN News.
If you're feeling generous with the upcoming holiday season, you may be thinking about donating to charity. In this week's Fraud Watch, we gather some important tips for making sure your money actually goes to those in need.
These last few months of the year might have some of us feeling generous. A 2012 GuideStar survey found more than 50% of organizations surveyed said they received the majority of their contributions between October and December. But fraud experts are warning this is the time scammers are also paying attention.
And they're basically trying to exploit your desire to give philanthropically.
Each year around the holidays, there's an uptick in scam calls. For the first time, charity regulators across the country declared an International Charity Fraud Awareness Week in October to help charities and consumers avoid fraud. So here's how these scams usually work. It starts with a phone call, maybe an email or a text message, usually out of the blue. You'll notice a sense of urgency from the person on the other end of the phone. They won't want to hang up until they get something from you. But while you have them on the phone, there's a few questions you should ask them.
You want to make sure you know for sure what organization they're calling from. And you want to ask lots of questions like, what's your mission? What's your website? Where can I find you online? So that you can do your research. And you don't want to get pressured into making a donation over the phone. You always want to follow up after your phone call by going online and doing some research.
Websites like the Better Business Bureau, Wise Giving Alliance, Charity Navigator, and GuideStar are charity watchdogs, and they'll help you pick the good guys from the bad. And if a so-called charity asks you to wire them your donation or send it on a gift card,
those are big red flags. Legitimate charities never want you to give that way.
Check or credit card is best.
Especially credit card, because you can dispute that later.
Make no mistake, there's plenty of good charities out there who could use the help this time of year. Just make sure your donations go to them and not a scammer. In Helena, Jacob Fuhrer, MTN News.
Now it's something we're all wondering, what will the winter be like? Are we likely to get as much snow as last season, or will we be wishing for more? In a few minutes, Matt Elwell is live from West Yellowstone with a look ahead to what the winter weather may hold in store through 2019. But first, here's a look at what's coming up at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Hey, good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, just days before the midterms, President Trump promises to stop immigrants from falsely claiming asylum. Ed O'Keefe discusses the reality of the system and whether it's compatible with White House plans. Also, how catfishing criminals trick those looking for love online to steal their money, and the red flags you should watch out for. All that and more is coming up. We'll see you at 7.